Today, I want to talk about some of the things I really like about LAW PreDiscovery. Now, I don't use LAW as often as I used to, but whenever I do, I find that there's some really smart things that they did about how they design user interface and about how software operates overall. And today, I want to share some of those things with you. Now, the first thing I think is really great about LAW PreDiscovery is that it's still a desktop application. Everything these days gets converted to a web application, but I feel like desktop applications are superior in many ways. You get better responsiveness, user interface is better, and it's just more enjoyable to use overall. Whenever you use like a web application and you have a problem or something is slow, you ask IT and they're like, oh yeah, maybe it's the web server, we'll see if we can schedule a reboot or see if there is a problem. With a desktop application, if you have a problem, something's not working right, you just reboot your computer, reopen the application, and usually it fixes itself unless it's a server problem, of course. But you're more in control of the application and how it runs. You know, you can adjust resolutions on the screen, have multiple windows that are easily dockable and things like that. And I feel like desktop application is just such a more pleasant experience for an end user. Now, the other thing I really like about LAW is its data grid. That grid is the most genius thing they could ever put in the software. It works great. You're able to work with your data so easily. You could right-click filter, assign numbers, batch update. It is like one of the best things that you could do in any other software. And while you do have other software that does look similar to a grid, functionally it's not the same, it's not as responsive, it's not as good. The way that grid view works in LAW is just one of my favorite features. Now, my third favorite feature about LAW is manual tiffing. Now, normally when you submit a batch of documents for imaging, they go in, they get imaged, and sometimes errors come back. When errors come back, there are often not a lot of things you can do. You can retry, maybe change some of the settings, but very few applications give you that manual control over your exceptions. In LAW, you can open that native file, and if it opens, you probably will be able to send it to a TIFF printer, and that TIFF stream will get captured and reinserted as the images for the document. So you can use the native application, you can use Quick View, you can use different applications, and you can try different things to try to image your document. While this isn't always required, there are situations when you have documents that are corrupt or partially corrupt. They may require you to click OK or repair or something like that, or you do need to use Quick View. So I find that to be extremely useful when you're dealing with problem documents. So those are my favorite features. However, there are a few honorable mentions that I want to bring up, and one of them is going to be quality of a TIFF image as it relates to its size. So other applications can generate a very good quality image, whether it's a TIFF or JPEG. However, the file size there is usually bigger than what would LAW generate for the same quality image. Now, it's not really a big deal nowadays because we don't really care about space, but it's still good to know that the engine is so well optimized that it's able to create these higher quality images at the lower size than some other companies can. Dealing with tables when imaging. A lot of software tends to cut off tables or cut off different content on the side of the page. LAW is really good at not doing it. It's not perfect by any means, but it is much better than most of the other software I've used. And finally, all kinds of numbering options. You can create formulas to renumber your pages with suffixes, prefixes. You can create all kinds of crazy numbering schemes. And you can work with individual pages. You can easily split documents, renumber, manipulate them in a million different ways. And LAW is absolutely best at it. This is where I'm standing, by the way, some kind of sunken barge that's normally underwater. So I had to schedule my visit here to make sure it is during low tide, because this is all covered by water, like, yeah, completely, all the way up to that tree branch that I was sitting on in the beginning. That water is touching that. So let me try to safely get out of here, walking around all these weird pipes and rusty steel. And if you could go in the comment section and tell me what you like about LAW PreDiscovery. Are there any features that you like? Share them in the comment section below with me. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you at some other crazy location hopefully soon.